Well, hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Ascension Playground. My name is Ursie, and today, if you might notice, my background screen is a little different. I love this image from days gone by when they're talking about this idea of our solar system. And here we see the night sky. It's a beautiful, it looks like a woodblock print. It's been a favorite for so many years, and I don't even know who made it. But here you see a person who's figured out how to pierce the veil and look at things from a different type of time beyond the third dimensional linearity. So when you go past the past, the present, and the future, and you move into these other realms of time, or the non-linear time of quantum, we might just learn and remember and see things. And so today I want to give a look at Bella's chart to see from an astrological lens what is there from that natal birth moment, the birth chart. So knowing your date of birth, the exact time, and the location. You can use calculators to try and understand what was it that is your life mission? What is it that you're here to do? And sometimes when we look at that energetic portrait in an astrology chart, some of the answers might start percolating up, but they're not going to be necessarily direct lines of this is what you're here to do. It's more of holding it loosely and looking at common denominators or what themes come up in a chart. So let's see if I can share, and we'll take a look at Bella today. This window, what you're seeing is Time Passages. It's a program that Henry Seltzer created. There's many other programs such as Solar Fire, I think it's something gold, Astro Gold. But there's even a free calculator called astro.com or Astrodienst. Anyway, this is Bella. And what we see right away is her rising sign is in Leo. And Leo is ruled by the sun. So isn't that interesting? She's a double Leo because we see that her sun is sitting in 14 degrees of Leo with the ascendant at 16 degrees. So it's a first house sun. So what's getting lit up and supported with Jupiter, her natal Jupiter in Leo, the expansion will be around your personal identity. All right. So Leo is a very powerful energy. It's fire. It is saying, here I am. Listen, I have something important to share. And I am the performer with messages, or I am the artist with, these are my creations. And so when you look over on this side of the chart pattern, there's basically 7 different types of shapes that astrologers take a peek at. One is called the seesaw. And so when we see this type pattern is a seesaw, right away it's this understanding that the soul has come in, Bella, to look at opposition. All right. So squares are typically internal. It's within yourself. But oppositions typically call in another person to help us learn how to integrate those energies to come to the center. So let's see. Yep. So the oppositional energies, right away, we see the sun in opposition to the Neptune. So here, and we also see, I'm going to click and point with Henry's beautiful program. I think I can hit display. So for the sun in the first house. This program is so great because if you want a quickie, I'm new to astrology, I want to learn it. This will talk to you a little bit more about what the sun in Leo represents. So fixed fire, fixed fire ruling the heart and the spine. This idea that letting your fire out is, when it's appropriate, is really important. Holding it in, you become like an internal combustion. So for those of you who have very strong Leo in your natal chart, just understand that if at all in your lifetime, consider having your heart checked at various times, blood pressure, the blood itself. So this idea of heart disease, we have to just be careful here when it's so much Leo. We see Leo, with the Venus, natal Venus in the 12th house of really sensitive to all of her surroundings, feeling into the big ocean, but in a way that's fiery, like hot, passionate love, but it's also something that it's otherworldly. I'm going to move now to another aspect of the chart, and it's this idea of a grand trine. You have a grand earth trine. It's this blue triangle that's equilateral. So what's working with your trine is your Mercury in Virgo in the second house. So, what resources you, right? Natural resources, being able to communicate um, and talk about the wound. This is Chiron. So, 13 degrees Chiron in Capricorn in the fifth house. So, this is Leo's house. And look how much is in that house. You have your moon, your part of fortune, Pluto, the vertex and Chiron. What does that mean? It means that this particular chart, Bella, is around, Leo, hear me roar. And nothing is worse than feeling like no one wants to listen to you, no one cares. And so, this idea of inward, turning that flame inward and combusting, you have to really watch that. But a grand trine in earth means someone who can work on getting things done. Like you can create things and it with ease that other people may not. So let's see what the clues are. All right. So this grand earth trine, working with your Mercury, how you speak and communicate, talking about the wound. Each of us is born with the Chiron aspect. Um, for me, this wound, the 13, it has to do with the feminine and how you are seen out in the world, Capricorn, the structure of your life. And then it's trining with the Black Moon Lilith. So if I was to put that together, you would be analyzing and looking at your daily habits and being informed by your body, understanding the wounding that might have happened in your early life, especially around healing and the body, and then bringing that out into the world, almost like a feminist call for no one's going to tell me who I am. Black Moon Lilith is not someone who's going to be labeled. At the highest level, she is the one that says, take me as I am or leave me. It doesn't matter because this is who I am. And when I see the North Node, 26 degrees of Taurus, right? This is a calling for you that even though you may want to stay indoors and stay home or stay with the people that you consider your family, does not have to be blood, but it's your tribe. Um, you came in with the South Node in the fourth house, which is your home. But the challenge you gave yourself is to work with this grand trine of earth manifestation and try and bring that out into the public domain, out in the business world, your vocation. Okay, your vocation is going to have something to do with this idea of working with non-labeling, um, letting your full self be heard and seen. And in Taurus, out in the world, manifesting, working with the earth, working with nature, working with things that are sensual. Taurus loves fine clothing, fine food, very specifics. So your challenge will be is to take what you've learned, especially through the wounding of self, through being told not to speak or try not to be as crazy or do not, like, try and conform, would you? That feels like the wound. so that others will accept you. But instead, you've come in saying, I know who I am. I am different. I'm probably of the future. And so it's not going to be easy to fit me in as an insider. I'm much more of an outsider with something to share. All right. So the sun at the ascendant. So we're going to see you as somebody that's courageous, somebody that will speak from her heart. When we look at where you placed your moon in this lifetime in Sagittarius, 14 degrees of Sag, right next to your part of fortune and Pluto. So you're going to feel into this idea of living in a deep life, having deep conversations, expressing yourself deeply. So your emotional intelligence will want to have this idea that there's more to feel and know and see. This is also a marker for someone in Sagittarius that will take the risk to go and do long distance travel, because you can, because you want to. And so the caution is clearly go forward, but make sure you've got the right bag packed and maybe a little more thoughtfulness. So when I'm looking at Virgo, let's see, here we are. Yeah, communicating Virgo. These are the resources I'm going to need. This is where I'm going to be to the ones who care about you. But this desire to get out into the world and carve and create your own path. So Pluto is sitting right there, and this is the position that you'll be blessed. So your moon, your part of fortune, and Pluto have put their energies together in what we call a stellium in the fifth house. So you're going to be speaking from those places of the dark night of the soul. You're going to be speaking from the shadow of, I was able to make it through, and this is how I did it. The lessons you've learned in your early life, this is how you can make your way through, and sharing that with others. So we see this whole little bit of a stellium. It's connecting with your ascendant. It's connecting with your natal Venus of how you love, right? And how we see you, the rising sign. And it's connecting in with your sun, how you light yourself up in the world. So you have the gift of being able to manifest. All right. You know how to get things done. You know how to set up a business. It's this idea that beware of, get more measured progress going. What's a realistic plan? What else does your chart want me to see? When we look at how many planets are above the horizon line, you have a good number, which is nice. Okay. The Saturn is typically the father image, or it can be one of the markers, so the structure or the father in the 11th house. I'm going to take the path of you're going to feel at home when you're able to create the networks and the friendship groups that resonate deeply with you. It's opposite your natal Chiron. See this red line of Saturn is opposing your natal Chiron. So that wound of, well, can I really do it? Is it possible? Or I'm going to set something up and then the carpet's going to be pulled out from underneath me. So if you're able to hold steady and find specific, be careful who you choose into these networks. Your 11th house is, it's ruled by Gemini. So there may be lots of different things that you like to think about and talk about and explore. So the groups or the networks that will help support you with your structure of creating your own family will be much more around, let's talk about a lot of different things. Who's learning what that you love to learn about? So whether it's holistic medicine, whether it's art or creativity or craft, you'll find that the structure will want to mirror this idea of my friends are my family. Does that make sense? It's not about biology. It's creating the structure of my friends are my family. And when that old wound comes back up, this is, about trying to, like, Bella, who do you think you are? When you hear those words, just say, okay, I've heard that. I know who I am. Thank you. and just holding firm in that knowledge. Let's see what else wants to be said. Leo, yes. Fifth house here. Fire. Let's see over here. There's strong fire in your chart. What does that mean? Of the four elements, earth, air, fire, water. Fire is all about, let's go make things happen. I'm just going to go. It's got a lot of resources. Fire is the pioneer. It's the one that does the long distance travel. It's the one that just says, it's time now. Let's go forward and get on that stage and just do it. All right. So when I look at these other points, cardinal, fixed, and mutable, you're mostly fixed fire. See how you have 8 and fixed. So this idea of how do you take that metaphor of holding fire? It's not fire that's moving. It's not fire that's initiating, but how do you hold that hearth fire within yourself? Like wherever you go, it's like anchoring in the internal fire of knowing who you are wherever you go. Fixed fire. When we see that you're light on air, sometimes the thinking or the planning might be a little light. So good to find a partner or someone that can help you pause, that you trust and connect to from the heart with. So let's think this through before we just go off and do. Okay. So that might be good to find someone who has strong air. But you're the type that'll say, let's go do it. Let's go. Let's go move. Let's go try something. Um, yeah. All right. So we have also another aspect pattern of a T square. So this is forming a T, and it's to your natal moon and Pluto. So here we have the moon and Pluto, and it's forming. I know it's hard to see because it's like all this, the lines in the center. But what that tells me is, yeah, how you feel and how you transform and how you move in the world. I mean, squares are usually the other person showing up to force you to expand. So when someone comes up to try and tell you who you are or what you should do or how you should do it or when you should do it, hold that lightly. Where I did say planning is important. Um, trust your gut, trust the fire in you. But fire does love and grows bigger with air. So because you're light on air, see over here, one air, um, it's the setup that you gave yourself. So you're like this fireball, but sometimes there's no air, so you run out of fire. So the fire gets dim. So when you're around someone with a lot of air, and the air signs are, let's see on the wheel. So Aries is fire, Taurus is earth, Gemini. Gemini is air. Good for you to find Geminis in your life. Cancer is water, Leo is fire, Virgo is earth, Libra. So Librans are really good to add much more into your ability to have extended fire. So Libra and Gemini are the two we've named. And then you've got Scorpio, which is water, and here is Sagittarius, and which is fire, and Capricorn is earth. Here's Aquarius. So when you have more friends who are Aquarian, and you've got your natal Neptune in Aquarius, 11 degrees in the sixth house. The sixth house is, yes, about the body and your day to day, but it's also about devoted service. So there's some part to you, because this is your one air, it looks like your Neptune sitting here in Aquarius, that your generation will be able to tune into much more of like thinking and dreaming about the future. Yeah, but bringing a few more Aquarians into your life to help support all this fire that you have. So the fire that you have is your sun and Jupiter sitting here and Venus. So that's 3 major: how you love, your identity, and how you expand. That's all fire right here close to the ascendant with Venus. Let's see. And then more fire, your moon Your part of fortune and Pluto in a stellium, lots of fire down here. Let's see, as we go up here, here's the 8th house. So what we do see in the 8th house here, 7th house is your relationships. It says typically one old-fashioned way, Bella, is to look at Aquarius as the sign that you more than likely would want to partner up with, have deeper one-on-one, more meaningful relationships. The 5th house is the romance house. So you might meet other Sagittarians that might feel good, but they're typically romantic versus your marriage house is Aquarian with a little bit of Pisces. All right. So the house of transformation has your Mars at 9 degrees of Pisces. Yep. That could be, challenges with the father or challenges with the male aspect. Yeah. Deep transformation. And so when we look at transits to this is the house of sexuality, death, rebirth, and other people's money. So it's going from relationships, 7th house of marriage, into the 8th house of change, big change, deep change. So let's see. Yeah, I'm going to pause sharing and see if I can get your transits up to see what's coming up around that house of deep change. And go here and do a transit report. And I'll begin today, but it's a 3-month review. Okay. And here it is. Wow. Okay. So my intuition was right. Your 8th house, do you see this? The North Node, transiting Saturn, Neptune, and Venus are all sitting in this 8th house. So big changes around how you assert yourself with what you love, Neptune, how you dream, so your dream of what you want and how you're going to navigate in the world could be in a big change. Like you may not know what, it could be like real foggy. Like, I don't know really what's going to go on. So at this stage, if it's transiting Neptune in your 8th house, it would be the message of, just let yourself feel into it. This is not the time to make big goals. Just travel with it. Let it flow when things shift a bit, because see, this is right working with your Saturn. So some of the structures in your life are going to be changing. The Saturn in Pisces, that's like a transiting father figure or father-ish kind of thing might be changing. But you're being held with the North Node, transiting North Node in this 8th house of transition. So big changes. If you see what's happening here with all the transits, everything is happening above ground. So see how the circle, when you cut it in half and bisect it here at the horizon, your changes are happening above in the interpersonal and transpersonal houses. Okay, so these planets, they move. The outer planets move a lot more slowly. So Saturn and Neptune will be sitting in this house of deep transformation for you. And right now they're squaring your sun and your ascendant. So what does that mean? You might be going through some changes in how you show yourself to the world, like physical changes, changing of hair color, changing of dress and wardrobe. You're just going to be going through this whole metamorphosis. So if you're under it right now, just know this too shall pass. But I was guided to kind of look at that with you. Again, these are transits on the outside, and they're affecting your natal chart on the inside wheel. Let's see what else wants to know. Okay, so this with Uranus, the sun is moving fast through the house of the 10th house of your vocation and how you are out in the world. Let's say your vocation or career. So we're going to be some big disruptive, like almost sudden changes in the work world. But it may actually give you a chance, because see how it's right on your North Node. Oh my gosh. So see how it's 26 Taurus. This is transiting Uranus and your natal North Node. Why you're here. This is your like, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to be out in the world, even though I'd rather stay home. something is going to suddenly happen. You're right in the pocket, this window, a big suddenness. So if job change happens, not to worry. Stay focused on embracing, I'm letting that door close so another one will open. And really tuning in and watching the synchronicities, who shows up, what shows up for you. So this is one of those stay observant. So this will be sitting on your natal north node for a little bit, but I think it's really like auspicious. Like this whole line is happening here. Yeah, I'm getting a sense that um you're going to go through a death and rebirth process to come out like the phoenix eventually, as a new Bella. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. I know with astrology, sometimes it's like, how do we hold it? Its potentials, energy changes, interpretations can vary. Um, but I did create a second report based on your natal chart, and it brings in much more of the stars. So when you look at from a star lens, why am I here? What am I supposed to do? And where is the help? Let me grab that for you. Okay, so this is what's called a starlight report, returning the stars to astrology. And there's a wonderful astrologer named Bernadette Brady, and she uses a very ancient technique that was several thousand years old. And today we call it visual astrology. It's very different when we work at this level of if you're born, we take a look at the heavens, we see which star was rising, which one is setting, and all the other stars. So if you think about our current star, well, the Earth star is named Sol, S-O-L. So we're in a solar system. But what Bernadette does is she takes the day you were born and she brings the magic of the stories of the stars that go beyond our solar system. So here we go. It started with the Egyptians. So the day that you were born, that moment of the morning, what's called a heliacal rising star, the star that was really going to give you something from your ancestors, from the underworld. Who was going to give you a gift? The gift you received is, well, it's called, the star is called Phact, Phact. So in this case, Bernadette's calling it the bow of the Argo. And the Argo was the ship that Jason and the Argonauts used to go sail away and find the golden fleece. All right, so that's mythology. It's also a dove. It's the dove that Noah, during the times of the floods, sent a dove to go see where there was land. So the star carries two stories, one of the dove bringing back a message that we found land after such utter destruction, but it's also the bow of a ship that just wants to go sail around the world and have new experiences. So that's from your ancestors. Now, the gift from the gods coming down on supporting you as a baby and bringing their light throughout your lifetime is a star called Ras Al Hagwe. It's sitting actually in a constellation called Ophiuchus, and it's the serpent handler. It's this guy with a snake, right? So there's a constellation called Ophiuchus, and there's a star that's marking you. The god said, here, Bella, you are a healer, one who tries to help, either through your words or actions. You don't have to be a doctor, a nurse. It's healing on a broader level. So Ophiuchus, who's holding the snake in the heavens, straddles it. He knows how to take the poison of the snake and make it into like the medicine. So it's working with snake energy instead of against it. So you use that kind of a metaphor of being a healer. So on one hand, you've got, right, the dove from Noah or the bow of a ship. And on the other, you've got the serpent holder. So a healer and one who wants to travel far. So if you put those two together, it might be with travel, you will learn more about various healing modalities to help other people. Well, a day has passed, and I wanted to get back to looking at Bella's galactic astrology now. So far, we've looked at Henry Seltzer's Time Passages to look at the natal astrology based on the moment of birth and tying it into our solar system. Earth's perspective, here's the sun and the orbiting planets. But now, using Julia Balaz's galactic astrology calculator, we can now see from a soul level what the galactic stars that go beyond the Bernadette Brady's visual astrology, looking at heliacal rising and setting. Okay, so let's see what this other chart has to share with Bella. Now, one thought is when you look at astrology, there's different house systems. There's Vedic astrology, tropical, Placidus. And I just want to share this idea that as the blind men are trying to say how they're feeling the elephant. Have you heard of that analogy of the blind men? One has the trunk and they're sure the elephant is long and thin. Another person has the foot and they're sure it's round and steady. Another person has the tail. So when we look at the language of astrology and working with the stars metaphorically and energetically, and there's not always a clear line. So we have to kind of look at it with our intuition and feel ourselves into that cosmic portraiture. So let me share what I found, Bella, for your galactic astrology. Here we go. And so I'm just showing you your natal astrology and adding in the stars that are conjunct specific natal points. Now, what we find quickly is that your sun, right, instead of being in the first house, which is what Time Passages put it in, we see that it's placed with Leo still in the 12th house. So this is lighting up the 12th house of the great ocean, being able to identify with more cosmic or tuning into a bigger understanding and awareness. And what happens is when your sun, your natal sun, is so close to the ascendant, in many systems, they'll put you as a first house sun. I have the same problem. So whether you identify with being 12th or first house, this is about the identity. It is all connected to this idea of universality and all that is. So we hold the identity of the sun, still 14 degrees Leo. All right. Your Jupiter natally is still in the first house of your identity. Now we see that this Jupiter, what is expanding is a star called Alphard. Alphard is the heart of the great water snake in the heavens named Hydra. Hydra is the largest constellation of the celestial heavens from our vantage point here on Earth. And Alphard is a beautiful star that stands alone in the darkness. So when you look around and you wonder, where are all my friends or family or people who see me? Alphard, this beautiful star in Hydra constellation, working with your Jupiter in Leo, is offering you to expand and share how it feels to embrace aloneness. This is very different than being lonely. Aloneness is this choice point of saying, I am here in the darkest of places, lighting up this part of the heavens. Okay. It's how to reframe. I'm not here all by myself. Where is everyone in fear? But saying, I have chosen to light up the darkest places and help others to expand as well. I am Leo in Jupiter. Hear me roar. And I'm going to call in Alphard to join me, the heart of the snake. Alphard's message, according to Bernadette Brady, is a chosen life point where you wanted to feel all of the feelings emotionally and expand them in Jupiter. So, someone who has high sensitivity and low sensitivity, I mean, the full emotional pathos of what it is to be human. Bella, you feel it all, and it is part of who you are. it's a separator too. When you start learning about galactic consciousness and awareness, and perhaps what is non-human, is the non-human is not able to experience the full range of emotional intelligence. You do, you feel it all. So that is a gift from the stars working with the expansion of your Jupiter. I think I'll share one more and then we'll call it a wrap. Uh, let's see. Your North Node in Taurus in the 10th house, right? So here we have the South Node. What feels comfortable for you, again, is to stay in the 4th house of home, staying home, and Beta Centauri Hadar. This star is a marker of many things, but in particular, creativity, artistry, um, the sensitivity in Scorpio, really feeling deeply. So, but opposite, so you come in South Node with this heightened awareness of depth of feelings. And in this lifetime, you're saying, I'm going to bring that out into the 10th house of my public life. All right. But Algol, this is a star showing up in the constellation of Perseus. Algol is the head of Medusa. All right. And it's working with your North Node in Taurus. What is the saying? Perhaps one story could be instead of losing your head out in the world, literally losing your mind when you're outside in the world, the thought that from the blood of Medusa, the severing of the thinking head and moving into the heart space, the blood brought forth a beautiful winged horse named Pegasus. So Pegasus comes from the blood of Medusa. So it's transformative. And Pegasus is is one of the few creatures that can actually travel throughout the realms into the worlds below and into the above realms of Olympus. It is Jupiter's horse. So this idea of transforming the blood of Medusa into this idea of the winged horse. And when we look closer, we see Shadir and Titowin showing up in the midheaven to help support you light your path. Shadir, the queen star. This is the one that goes out into the world. Are you willing to sit on your throne as queen? But queen not looking in the mirror, but queen to turn the mirror back and say and remind us to sit in our sovereignty of knowing who you truly are. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. I know this went a little bit long, but boy, these stories of the stars, when you start to link them up and put the pieces together, try to look at it again more with soft gazing instead of trying to clarify, what am I supposed to do? Because the lessons will come to you synchronistically. It's how you want to frame them and hold them. So if I had Algol working with my North Node in Taurus, Taurus out in the world, resources, knowing what's yours, it's, fixed earth, grounding that in. So I'm getting this idea that the blood and the idea of, okay, it's time to transform, to take the stinky thinking and move much more into the heart space. And working with the transformative nature of the blood of Algol, I think is the way to follow that, and allowing Pegasus in your dreams to bring you toward that ascension process. Okay, well, that's all from now from the Ascension Playground. I trust that your year 2025 will help you anchor in and see in your own mirror of who you truly are. Take care and see you next time on the Ascension Playground.